Today, you are going to learn about the second commandment. The second commandment, as written in the book of the law, the book that was given to Moses on Mount Sinai. This is part of the 10 commandments, which were given by the voice of the Most High on Mount Sinai to Moses and to all of Israel. Through Moses and the elders of Israel, even though only Moses and the elders of Israel went into the mountain, and Moses was the one who received the tablets of the law, all of Israel had the voice of the Most High when he gave them the commandments. The commandments were written in 2 tablets of stone by the finger of the Most High. We know the story that Moses broke those tablets when he found that the Israel were building a golden calf and worshiping it. So the Most High wrote the same words on a different set of tablets after the first ones were broken. And those tablets were placed in the Ark of the Covenant, which is kept within the tabernacle in the temple, or which was kept within the tabernacle in the temple. So that's just a little background on this 10 commandments and this law as written in the book of the law. So let's get right into it and look at this second commandment. This is the second commandment. Not one sentence of it, all of it. Let's listen to it as it's read to us.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Thou shalt not usurp dominion as a ruler, for the name of the Lord thy God is great and glorious above all other names. He is above all, and is the only true God, the only just and upright King over all. He alone hath the right to rule, and in his name only he to whom he granteth it. Whosoever is not chosen of him, the same is a usurper, and unholy. The Lord will not hold him guiltless, for he taketh his name in vain.
All right, that's the second commandment. Now let's go and look at it a little bit deeper. And first, I want to talk about 2 words that are in here that I don't want to assume that we all know the meaning. And those 2 words are the word vain and usurp. So let's look at what those words mean.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain.
Okay, so here we have the word vain. This means to have or to show undue or excessive pride in one's appearance or achievements. It also means something that is marked by futility or ineffectualness. It also means something that has no real value. When we say somebody is doing something in vain, you can mean that that person is showing pride excessively. It's like they're bragging, they're boasting, they're blowing their own trumpet, however you want to call that. And you can see the synonyms of this word vain there in blue: to be conceited, unsuccessful, useless, idle, worthless, almost foolishness. That is what the word vain means. What about the word usurp? Okay. Usurp means to seize and hold things like office or a place or functions or powers in possession by force or without right. You're taking something without the right to have it. You're taking possession of something, or you're holding something, yet you don't have the right. It also means to take or make use of without right. It's like if you take a song that one of you has written and you start playing it without authorization. That is to usurp that other person's creative right. To take the place of, by, or as if by force. So you supplant yourself like they do when there's a coup. The person who is spearheading the coup, or the people spearheading the coup, supplant themselves by removing whoever is in power. So a good summary down here, it says to seize or exercise authority or possession wrongfully, that is to usurp. Now, let's get into this commandment. So first of all, what is this commandment talking about? I just highlighted different verbs in here, or rather different words, not verbs, different words in here in different colors to show you how many times a word or a concept is being repeated. You can clearly see the yellows are the most. They're talking about taking, usurping, vain, granting, chosen, usurper, taking, vain. This is the whole idea of taking something or being granted something, whether you're doing it by authority or not. This is repeated 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The Most High repeats key points to us so that we get it, because we learn through repetition. That's why they taught us nursery rhymes that we can still remember in old age. The second thing that is most important here is the name. And that's repeated 5 times. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this commandment is talking about taking the name, just like the first line says, you shall not take the name. Those are the 2 first most important things. Notice that we also have a repetition 3 times of the fact that the Most High is above all, over all. So we're being told of his position of authority, repeated 3 times. And then we're also told about the uniqueness of the Most High. The only he to whom he granted. There's no other that is doing this except the Most High. He's the only true God, only just and upright King, only he to whom he grants. So that's the uniqueness of the Most High. So this commandment is talking about taking the name of the Most High, who is a unique creator, who is over all. Okay, let's jump into some more details. What I've highlighted here and put 6 bullet points is what I call the do's and don'ts of this commandment, and also the cause and effect of this commandment. The first one is do not take. That's in yellow, number 1. You're being told do not take the name. Second one is in red. Don't do that in vain. And we're going to get into this discussion of what does it mean to take in vain, since we know now that the word vain means without authorization. The third issue here is do not usurp. Usurp what? We'll talk about this dominion as a ruler. Okay? You're being told only use that name if you have been granted to do so. And those who are granted to do so may be because they were either granted or they were chosen. So who is described as chosen by the Most High? Were you chosen by somebody else, or were you chosen by the Most High? Is your nation the chosen one, or is that nation self-appointed? Are they using the name of the Most High, yet it was not granted to them, yet they were not chosen? And then last but not least, the Most High says, those that pretend to have been chosen, those that take his name in vain, that will cause them, the Most High, that will cause the Most High to hold them guiltful or find them guilty of taking his name in vain, because it says the Lord will not hold him guiltless. If If you want to know what the verdict will be, if you're taking the name of the Most High in vain, the verdict will be that you're guilty. I know this week we've had a lot of information about verdicts. Let me restrain myself from going into that. Let's keep looking at what else we find in this commandment. But those are the do's and don'ts, the major do's and don'ts in this commandment. Let's get a bit more deeper into what else we see here. I've highlighted some words here that tell us more about the Most High, about his characteristics. Just like we saw in the first commandment, that the Most High is jealous. Here, we are seeing he is dominant. So he's saying, do not usurp my dominion as a ruler. He is great. He is glorious. It says, thy God is great and glorious. He is the only true. He is true or truthful. He is just. He is upright. He is a king over everything. Now, a king has dominion over a kingdom. So the fact that he's described as a king here means that he has a kingdom. And you cannot be a king if you don't have a domain over which you dominate. He alone has the right to rule. Just like if you create something, you have the creative right to it, like a song or a book. He created everything on earth and in the heavens, everything in the universe. So he has a right to rule over those things. He is holy. We know this because he says that those who usurp his dominion are unholy. So we know that he is holy. Let's take a look at some more details, but this time from the scriptures. Now, in this same commandment, the second commandment, I've highlighted the first line and the last line. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. The Lord will not hold him guiltless, for he takes his name in vain. If you look at your scriptures, especially in the book of Exodus and the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 5 and Exodus chapter 20, you will find this first line and this last line combined to make a commandment. There is the first one in Exodus. You shall not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, first part. For the Lord will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain, the last part. I know you're going to be wondering, what did they do with the rest? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out in the discussion. Here is Deuteronomy chapter 5, where the commandments are listed in the book of Deuteronomy. And in the so-called Bible, these are the two places where the commandments are listed, in Exodus 20 and Deuteronomy 5, verse 11. Now, again, this is repeated. They took that first line and that last line. We know that the Bible does not contain the book of the law. So this is an example to show you what has been hidden that is now being uncovered. What has been hidden is all this text that talks about usurping and talks about who the Most High is and things like that. So anybody who, or any government, anybody who was ruling others and had not been appointed or has not been appointed by the Most High is usurping the Most High's dominion. the Most High's right to rule. Anybody who assumes pastoral duty, a preacher's duty, without that authority being granted to him by the Most High, that is also using the name of the Most High in vain. That is usurping dominion of the Most High as a ruler, whether it's over a congregation, a religion, a nation, whatever it is. If that authority, if you're doing that in the name of the Most High, but it has not been granted to you by him, you're violating this second commandment. I didn't say it, it's right here in the commandment. As to why this commandment is chopped up, hidden, all these other verses are hidden, I can only speculate, but we'll get into that discussion later. Let's look at some more scriptures. Okay. Now, this is from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28. And what I want you to get here, we know this chapter covers all the curses and the blessings to the nation of Isolele after they left Egypt. But look at this. It says, if you will not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that you may fear this glorious and fearful name, the Lord thy God. Obviously, we know this is originally something like Nzambi. Nzambi. So of course they translated that, but it's talking about what will happen to you if you don't fear, if you don't keep this law that are written in the book of the law, and if you don't fear this glorious and fearful name. We're talking about the name again here. Daniel, he saw in a night vision. This was when he had seen, I believe, the 4 beasts. And this is about the 4th one. It says, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven and came to the Ancient of Days. Isaiah is going to the Ancient of Days, the Most High, Tatanzambi. And they brought him near before him. They brought Isaiah next or near to the Most High. Then what happens? And there was given him dominion. Tatanzambi gave Isaiah dominion and glory. Isaiah was given or granted this dominion, the granting that we were talking about. And he was granted that by the Most High. Dominion, glory, kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages, everybody should serve him. Serve Isaiah. And it says here, Isaiah's dominion is an everlasting dominion. Daniel later on talks about this. Oof, this one, I just had to show you guys this one. This is what Daniel was seeing in a vision of things that would happen that are now happening in our time. And he shall speak great words. This is that 4th beast against the Most High. Who speaks great words against the Most High? And shall wear out the saints of the Most High. Who has worn us out throughout history? And think to change times and laws. We have done a series where we talked about day and time. We know how they changed the days to start at midnight, or they thought they did. And they changed the laws. We've just seen how this law, they gave us the first line and the last line. We'll even get into some other laws, for example, regarding the Sabbath. They thought to change those laws. This is the 4th beast in operation. That is they. Okay. Daniel foresaw this in a vision and wrote about it. We are living in the time where that 4th beast has changed the times and the laws that are in the book of the law. That's what they're changing. Still going on, the same chapter of Daniel. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints, that is you, Isolele, of the Most High. Remember when he was saying, the Most High would say, go tell Pharaoh, when he was talking to Moses, to let my people go. It says here, people of the saints of the Most High. So they shall be given to us. The kingdom, dominion, greatness of the kingdom shall be given to us, the people of the saints of the Most High. We are not usurping the kingdom, the dominion, the greatness. It is being given to us. If you're not part of those saints, consider carefully whether you're usurping or taking the name or the authority of the Most High in vain. And Josiah came and spake unto them, saying, all power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. He did not usurp it. It was given to him. All power in heaven and in earth. So he then tells his 11 disciples, yes, 11, we know the story of Judas, go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name. See, he's using that name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost. So because he's been given that power, as he states in the previous verse, verse 18, he says, go therefore and teach in the name and baptize in the name of the Father. Luke 1:33, this is when the angel Gabriel is announcing the birth of Isaiah to his parents. And he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever. It's describing Isaiah. He shall reign over the house of Jacob. He was, and of his kingdom there shall be no end. It doesn't say here, he shall reign over the house of Esau or Ishmael, or no, it's specific. And I said Esau because Jacob was a twin brother to Esau. So the Most High made that distinction that this is a king, Isaiah is a king over Isolele. Hence the 12 tribes of Jacob, Isolele. Forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end. It's an eternal kingdom. Few last ones from the scriptures. And I'm showing this because some people may say, well, what you've shown us was Old Testament. Well, I've just shown you some scriptures from Matthew, one from Luke, and now here's another one from Ephesians. This is New Testament. I'm just saying the story ties from the time we made a covenant as the nation of Isolele, when we made that covenant at Mount Sinai with the Most High. These things tie. This is why he gave us commandments that make sense. Here it talks about the eyes of your understanding being enlightened, that you may know what is the hope of his calling and what the riches of the glory. Glory, again, great is his glory, of his inheritance in the saints. And what is the exceeding greatness of his power to us word? You can read that in today's English as toward us who believe. Okay, that power is the one that we use to dominate. That is what we're given as part of his dominion. When we use his name, we're given that power that comes with it, which he wrought in Christ when he raised him from the dead and set him. The Most High set Isaiah, granted Isaiah at his own right hand. This is where we get the phrase in contemporary days where we say, so-and-so is my right hand person. That means, you know, they're next in line in authority, or they're the ones who handle most of your business, you know. So Isaiah was set there by the Most High. He did not self-appoint himself. He was not elected by a bunch of cardinals, nor a convention. No, it's the Most High who set him there, who granted him that authority to be at his right hand in the heavenly places, where he's above all. And he's far above all. This is Isaiah, is far above all, not just above all, but far above all. So his position of authority is clear, above principalities, powers, might, and every name, not some names, but every name that is named. Wherefore, the Most High has also highly exalted him. This is the granting again. Exalted him and given him a name which is above every name. So when you're given a name, it's been given authority. So when we talk about don't use the name of the Most High in vain, we're not just talking about don't curse and say, JC. No, we're talking about usurping power, because that name comes with power. Don't self-appoint yourself. Don't say you're doing this in his name, and yet you're not even part of Isolele, which the Most High says in Psalm 147:19, I don't have it here, that he shows his word to Jacob, his laws and statutes and judgments to Isolele. He has not done this with any other nation. Why would he appoint other Gentiles to be the ones to carry his name? It doesn't make sense. Anyway, it says here that at the name of Isaiah, every knee shall bow. Why? Because that name, that authority of that name has been given to him from the Most High, and that every tongue should confess that Isaiah is Lord, to the glory of the Most High, the Father. We're wrapping up here. Now, this is Isaiah speaking, and he is saying, you have put all things, you is the Most High, in subjection under Isaiah's feet. Or the author of Hebrews is saying, the Most High has put all things in subjection under Isaiah's feet. Okay, if everything is under his feet, then Isaiah is above everything. All things are under his feet, so he's above them. For in that he is the Most High. That's why I put it in red. He, the Most High, put all in subjection under Isaiah in yellow. Okay, he left nothing that is not put under him. Everything is below him. That is the granting of the right to rule, the right to dominate. It was granted by the Most High. So Isaiah was not doing this without authorization. And when he delegated to his disciples or Isolele, he did that because it had been granted to him. Finally, as we wrap up here, and he that overcomes in Revelation and keeps or keepeth my works. Note, it does not say words. Keeps or keepeth my works. These are actions. What actions are you keeping? It's the commandments. Unto the end, to him, the effect of keeping the works, the commandments, to him is that he will give power over the nations. Last week we saw John 14:15. If you love me, keep my commandments. Now here Revelation is saying, in the book of Revelation, verse 1, chapter 1 says, chapter 1, verse 1 says the revelation of Isaiah, the Christ. So it's telling us you keep the works and you'll be given the power. You'll be granted the power over the nations. This is why we keep emphasizing that in this awakening, it really matters that we keep the commandments. Because if you keep the commandments, keep my works, you will be given power over the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. All right, let's wrap it up by listening to this commandment again.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Thou shalt not usurp dominion as a ruler, for the name of the Lord thy God is great and glorious above all other names. He is above all, and is the only true God, the only just and upright King over all. He alone hath the right to rule, and in his name only he to whom he granteth it. Whosoever is not chosen of him, the same is a usurper, and unholy. The Lord will not hold him guiltless, for he taketh his name in vain.